And now we will hear from our welcoming trustee. Bob, you're on.
Good morning. Welcome to our service from the Unitarian Universalist Meetinghouse in Springfield, Vermont. We welcome those who are zooming in locally from Springfield or elsewhere in the southeast corner of Vermont, as well as to our extended community who are joining us from afar. We are a multifaceted community and we're glad you are all with us this morning. My name is Bob Allman and I'm one of the trustees. If you're a guest today, we invite you to simply enjoy being with us. You're welcome to join us after the service for our virtual coffee hour discussion time. At the end of service, there will be a time for announcements and an opportunity for guests to introduce themselves.
Thank you, Bob. And now we will have our bell sound.
Our chalice lighting words today are from Amanda Gorman's The Hill We Climb. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? And now from our virtual choir, we will have Be Ye Lamps unto yourselves. Please mute yourselves and sing along at home.
Thank you for singing along or listening and sharing that song about us being a light unto ourselves. As Julaine gets ready to share the slide for the affirmation, let me remind you that the reason we are here is not just to be the light to ourselves, but to pass it and share it. Why are we here? Love is the doctrine of this community. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve the needs of all beings, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with the source of our being. Thank you for sharing these words. And now we have a special treat. And Deb, if you would spotlight Anne Marie, we have a story.
Today's story is called Friedrich from Leo Leonini. It's a little mouse with some big ideas. All along the meadow where the cows grazed and the horses ran, there was an old stone wall. And in that wall, not far from the barn and the granary, a chatty family of field mice had their home. But the farmers had moved away, and the granary stood empty. And since winter was not far off, the little mice began to gather corn and nuts and wheat and straw. They all worked day and night, all except Friedrich. Friedrich, why don't you work? Asked the little mice. Well, I do work, said Friedrich. I gather sun rays for the cold, dark winter days. And when they saw Friedrich sitting there, staring at the meadow, they said, and now, Friedrich? I gather colors, answered Friedrich simply, for winter is gray. And once Friedrich seemed half asleep. Are you dreaming, Friedrich? They asked reproachfully. But Friedrich said, oh no, I'm gathering words, for the winter days are long and many, and we'll run out of things to say. Well, the winter days came. And when the first snow fell and the 5 little field mice took to their hideout in the stones. And in the beginning, there was lots to eat. And the mice told stories of foolish foxes and silly cats. They were a happy family. But little by little, they had nibbled up most of the nuts and berries. The straw was gone, and the corn was only a memory. It was cold in the wall, and no one felt like chatting. Then they remembered what Friedrich had said. What about your supplies, Friedrich? Close your eyes, said Friedrich, as he climbed on a big stone. Now I will send you the rays of the sun. Do you feel how their golden glow feels? And as Friedrich spoke of the sun, the 4 little mice began to feel warmer. Was it Friedrich's voice? Was it magic? And how about the colors, Friedrich? They asked. Close your eyes again, Friedrich said. And when he told them of the blue periwinkles, the red poppies, and the yellow wheat, the green leaves of the berry bush, they saw the colors as clearly as if they had been painted in their minds. And the words, Friedrich. Friedrich cleared his throat and he waited a moment. And then, as if from a stage, he said, who scatters snowflakes? Who melts the ice? Who spoils the weather? Who makes it nice? Who grows the 4-leaf clovers in June? Who dims the daylight? Who lights the moon? 4 little field mice who live in the sky. 4 little field mice like you and I. One is the spring mouse who turns on the showers. Then comes the summer who paints in the flowers. The fall mouse is next with walnuts and wheat. And winter is last with little cold feet. Aren't we lucky the seasons are 4? Think of a year with 1 less or 1 more. Come on, kitty. When Friedrich had finished, they all applauded. But Friedrich, they said, you are a poet. And Friedrich blushed. And he took a bow and he said shyly, I know it. All right, please join all together in a moment of silence. Thank you. And so please mute yourself again as we join the virtual choir in singing This Little Light of Mine. And if you have a percussion instrument or shakers or a tambourine, or just clapping hands, we welcome you to join with this, a very lively little song, This Little Light of Mine. Thank you.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Everywhere I go, everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Everywhere I go, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the world, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Back to the beginning. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Thanks to Julaine and Emmy and Ed. Oh, such a great little rattle shaker. Yeah. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, here we are. And we are here for a very special ceremony. This congregation has been doing for over a decade. I'm excited to share with you our fire ceremony. And I will light our 2 candles for this ceremony. So as I light the candle of letting go, Spirit of life, be with us in our letting go. Help us to let go of old habits, grudges, and bad attitudes. Let the darkness in our hearts lift with the rising of this flame. making room for healing light in the year ahead. So we have lit the candle of letting go. And now to light the candle of renewal. And with this candle, these words: O God of infinite newness, awaken in us power and commitment to the good. Help us to let in the light of life and love in the days ahead. With this prayer, we celebrate the candle of renewal. So we have invited you to bring paper and pen. If you need to take a moment to grab them, that's fine. You can also just remember what you want to say. So I invite you now to think about those things that you want to let go of. And as we are doing this ceremony for the second year virtually, what I will ask you to do is either write down what you want to let go of, and then let us know. And you can either go like this, or you can put your name in the chat. You are welcome to keep these things to yourself. There's no need to share unless you want to, in which case Chrissy will be monitoring, and whether you have words to share or not, I will burn a blank piece of paper in our beautiful fire ceremony bowl in honor of what you are letting go of.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you. The slides will include beautiful images of the service that Ellen Allman did for many years in leading a labyrinth practice. And until we can be together again, we'd like to share those images as well, and that intention.
So some of the slides are of our own service, and then other labyrinths as well.
I'd like to share the conclusion of the Amanda Gorman poem, The Hill We Climb. And perhaps now is a good time to reflect on her beautiful poetry as we enjoy Sweet and Radiant Mystery. And she writes, when day comes, we step out of the shadow, unafraid. The new day blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it. If only we are brave enough to be it. From The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman.
Thank you, Chrissy. It's been almost a year since Amanda Gorman stood on the steps of the Capitol and recited her poem that She wrote just up until that moment to celebrate a new page in our history with inspiration.
I'm ready to try again.
Okay, here we go.
Everybody cross your fingers. Let's just watch the slides. I'm sorry. So clearly, my letting go of perfectionism is being exercised right now. But the anxiety thing, I'm still going to have to work on.
Well, thank you, Julaine. And as that was happening, I'm reminded of how I also need to let go of my own expectation of what's going to happen. What we want to offer here is the best we can to uplift people and to adapt as things happen. I want you all to know that Julaine has done this many, many times. It usually works. Who knows what Zoom mice there are? But as I let go of that and I was watching the slides, and you may have had the same feeling, there was a special presence with the silence. And as you walk a labyrinth, you're usually walking in silence. It's very meditative. And to see those pictures of us from long ago, of the Meserve kids, much smaller than they are now, and Callum, a little guy, and then all those other labyrinths from many, many, many places. I got filled with a sense of peace from a labyrinth. So we have already heard our closing words, as Chrissy so ably filled in with the end of the poem, The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. So at this point, I will blow out the chalice, but not yet our hopes for the coming year. And then we'll have a time to share our joys and sorrows. So see what you might have to share as I extinguish the chalice.